Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Final Whistle here on the Bama Standard, your number one source for Alabama football-related content. As you see it at the bottom of the screen, be like Jahad Campbell and hit that like and subscribe button, which they will be doing to the South Florida Bulls come Saturday. And yes, we're looking to go 1-0 another week. But guys, let me introduce the amazing panel of the Final Whistle. We know Chris will be in a little bit later. So let's go to Chris's brother who always bullied him while he was a kid. The one and only, our lead recruiting analyst, Dan James. How are you?
Always good, brother. Happy Tuesday, Bama Nation. Blitz, Bama Blitz.
Blitz, Bama Blitz. Happy Tuesday. And as you can see, he's got the shades on. He's our Final Whistle analyst, Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collect. The one and only, Lushawn Graves. How are you?
Guys, we're 1-0, but that's over with. New week, new team, new plan. Time to go 1-0 again. I'm happy to be here, guys. You know, it's my favorite time of the week, Tuesday, with my Avengers, minus a couple. But we're going to have a good show tonight, guys, so stay tuned. Let's go.
Let's go. Stay tuned and let's go. And ladies and gentlemen, this guy's everywhere. I mean, he just does it all for us here on the Bama Standard Network. The one and only Auburn's number one fan, Daniel Petty.
Woohoo, man, it's game week. I got my helmet that I used to wear and play and bust heads with like Marvin. No, man, I'm excited. We're coming to Tuscaloosa this week, man. I'm pumped. I'll be traveling. We got the dedication of Saban Field. My wife gets to perform on the field with the alumni band. It's a big weekend, man. I'm pumped.
Big weekend. Roll Deck up time. Shout out
Roll
to
damn Tide.
Keith Holcomb, Mimi S., Justin Summerlin, Bobby Sprinkled, Bob Rutherford, Tough as Nails, Kennedy, BJS. Shouts out to you all in the chat. Y'all are amazing. And listen, we would not be here without our amazing sponsors. The Bryant Museum, named after the GOAT himself, Bear Bryant, the amazing museum that is on campus in Tuscaloosa, right across from the complex. Listen, great news. Shouts out to Olivia Arnold. The Bama Standard will be at the Bryant Museum on Friday. That is 6 p.m. Central. So tune in to the Bryant Museum if you're touring, if you want to see these big-time celebrities here from the Bama Standard Network. Go to the Bryant Museum on Friday and get your autograph from these guys. I think Petty will be signing thongs. Is that what?
I'll be signing babies' heads, girls, autograph books. Dan's gonna be giving dances, I believe. We're gonna be working the whole show.
Working the whole show. So guys, week one, Bama's 1-0. I know we've got a list of things, but let's just kind of get your initial reaction from Bama week one. You know, me personally, I'll start it off. I just want to say, I think it could have, I think Alabama had to overcome a lot of adversity. The headset communication didn't work. It was raining. We lost Caden Proctor. It was DeBoer's first game, so we had to iron out a lot of kinks. It was just a lot of stuff, and I think that's going to set us up for future success down the road. Having those initial, issues going in. I mentioned the rain, the technical issues, Caden Proctor going down. I think we had a lot of stuff happen right that we couldn't control at the kickoff that I think that's going to, which forced us to come together as a team, and I think it's going to pay dividends on down the road. Dan, what is your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I think we played as well as you can pretty much expect. First game, new regime. We held. We shut the team out, y'all. We were aggressive against the run. We while being vanilla at the same time. Mental mistakes, we had them. I hate to say first game jitters, but it's a lot of mistakes. We have to clean up, but you don't want to have a perfect game. You want to always have coachable moments. So we had several coachable moments throughout the game. But I love the physicality at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I love the explosive plays. So overall, I rate it. I give it an A+ effort.
A+. Lushawn, give us your thoughts. And I know you're big on certain players that kind of stood out for you. I'll change it up for you, especially on the defensive end.
I had this guy highlighted in the danger zone last week, and that was Devontae Smith, and he brought it. That Mack truck was in on a lot of tackles. He caused a lot of confusion for that tall mountain of a quarterback that said he was about to roll the Tide. It's like that didn't happen. Wasn't even close. Didn't we knock him out at halftime too? That's another story. But I felt that, our defense played strong. They set the tone with their physicality, like Dan said, and our line was physical and not like just like the normal Alabama physical. And everybody's going to say it was the team, but no matter who they put in, they kept that energy high, which set the tone for the rest of the defense just eating. And I loved it. Like Dan said, I'm gonna give the effort an A. You gotta get, A+. That would have been like that's I can't give out an A+, but that they could definitely get an A. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm excited to see the work they put in and what happens.
And
week 2 against the Bulls.
Yeah. Lushawn, I love how you mentioned Devontae Smith. I don't think anybody played with the most passion out there. This guy is finally healthy, and he looked like he was just juiced every play. And we need that energy, that passion, that desire throughout in order for us to get to the goal, which is SEC and Natty Championship this year. Not Lushawn, Patty.
We look alike.
Yeah, y'all look, very similar. Patty, just give me your thoughts. Just kind of, just seeing everything play out, kind of what impressed you, or, just talk about the game.
I was really impressed at how quickly DeBoer has, we're about to have to jump on my man, Jimmy Clay, bringing it real quick. But one thing, let's go. Jimmy Clay, I love this guy. I can't wait to see you Friday. But my man, Jimmy Clay, Bama sports forever. This may be, there's a lot of good Bama fans. But if we're doing a top 10 with some first place votes, Mr. Jimmy Clay with his $25 super chat. He's easily getting. I'm giving you a first place vote, Mr. Jimmy, all day. But what I noticed more than anything is, one of the biggest questions is how do you step into the shadow of Nick Saban and DeBoer? It's weird seeing it on the sideline because it's so different, but DeBoer's got just a different energy, kind of more upbeat, but he hadn't shied away from who he is. And I felt like early on, you could tell his personality and it resonated with the team. He's really putting his imprint already, and it and shine away from doing it his way. And again, man, you look at teams like who Ole Miss played with Furman or UT Chattanooga with Tennessee. Everybody was beating everybody to death. But I'd venture to say Western Kentucky's not a bad program. That's a team that makes it to bowls. It's got a good offense, and that defense just shut them down. And it was just, man, it was an electric night. It was a hell of a transformation from the Saban to DeBoer era. I don't think you can't give anything but an A with that. So I'm excited to see where we go. Hey, we got USF this week. It's going to be a team that gave us a lot of fits last year in one of the weirdest games of the Saban era. So I'm really excited to see, week 1 took care of business. How do we take care of business week 2? How does the process look under Kalen DeBoer?
I agree. I think, Alabama had a formidable opponent. Western Kentucky, I thought they were throwing some unique blitzes out there.
Mhm.
But to your point, Patty, I love how you mentioned Kalen DeBoer. He's been so cool, calm, and collected, saying the right things, but he's a different animal come game day. Listen, when he was chewing out that rep on the sideline
Yeah.
because Western Kentucky's headsets wasn't working, I was like, yes, that's the DeBoer I want to see. And he's a different animal come game day. He's a different animal, and I was glad to kind of see that type of, locked inness, that type of, that's not our fault. Just kind of chewing the ref out. So I thought that was good to see from our coaching staff. So guys, we mentioned USF. South Florida, they presented a lot of challenges right now. USF, if they were to play FSU, they'll probably be a 30-point favorite. If they were probably to play Florida, they're probably a 25-point favorite. This team's talented. They got a lot of transfers. Listen, Petty, as you mentioned, they presented a lot of challenges last year in that weird game. We had the big rainstorm. They had to delay the game. We were going in with Tyler Buckner, who's now playing lacrosse now. Tommy Rees, we benched Miro. It was a weird game for Alabama. And I think this team is looking to avenge themselves versus USF. I mentioned Jihad Campbell, how in the presser today, he was very short, straight to the point, waiting to get ready to get on the field and play. I think if he wanted to play USF right now, he probably would suit up. But guys, I'm going to leave it to Petty and Dan. What should we be concerned about regarding South Florida? We know they played Bethune-Cookman week 1, so they were super vanilla. What should we expect from them and their running game threat? We know the coach used to be the Tennessee offensive coordinator, so he likes to run that UT offense. So this is going to be a good test for us defensively, offensively, so many things. Petty, the floor is yours.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's all about eye discipline in a game like this. And man, we're talking about a team that's not coming in to just get a payday and, hey, we're going to take our 35-point ass whipping and call it a day and shake hands and get off. This USF bunch is confident. I mean, Golesh said earlier this week that, Alabama, we've seen for 16, 17, 18 years that their best are as good as anybody in the country, but we believe our best can play with anybody right now. So this is a confident bunch who played vanilla in their first game, like a bunch of big boys. So they didn't show much to the Tide, but they're coming behind kind of a three-headed monster starting with their quarterback, Byrum Brown. He rushed for 70 yards this week, threw for 150. But again, this is all about eye discipline. Your defense, this is going to be, you said those Tennessee offenses where it's about a lot of zone reads and they're going to be handing it off to Wright. He didn't have a big game against Bethune, but again, I don't think they were trying to have a big game. But his backup, Kelley Joyner, did have a big game, rush for, another 70 yards. So it's going to be a running back by committee with the quarterback mixed in and, kind of gave some fits last year to Alabama with Brown. And, they've got a little bit of confidence off of what, man, let's be real. That was what you mentioned earlier, alluded to, Matt, was the weirdest game to me in the Saban era. It's like it wasn't the opening game and it got treated like a preseason game where you weren't rolling with your starting quarterback and was trying to find out who the backup was, almost like it was the second scrimmage of fall practice. It was just weird. And then, like you said, you had the delay. It was just an odd game. But again, that's parlayed into confidence for a USF bunch that, hell, might be the second best team in the state of Florida right now behind Miami. Them and maybe USF. The battle for I-4 will be legit this year. But no, they do have a three-headed monster, and this will be a different test for the defense. You know, can we stay disciplined? Can we stay in our lanes? Can we make the right reads with the quarterback and where the ball's going? And man, I tell you what, the early litmus test with that linebacking core and man, LT Overton just wreaking absolute damn havoc off the end. I like the Tide's chances. Dan?
Yeah, definitely. One thing we can definitely expect is a better game through the air from Byrum Brown. Last year, wasn't his best game through the air, but the guy can throw it. I think he threw for over 3,500 yards, rushed for over 700 yards. I think he almost rushed for 100 yards against us last year, if I remember correctly. But like you say, we got to have eye discipline. But one thing I can say, I think the way Jihad Campbell is playing right now, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend Byrum Brown, scrambling around too much. But I say we spy him, forcing to beat us, through the air, similar game plan as last year. Last year, we held them to 3 points, all said and done, but like you said, we weren't aggressive offensively. And, of course, Jalen Milroe didn't play. Tyler Booker, if I remember, I don't think he played that game. And Jaden Roberts, I don't think he was named the starter yet. So they're going to see a little different Bama offense. I can guarantee you that. They didn't get to see the big play capability. So, I expect it to be, an easy Alabama victory and not going to get in, give score prediction just yet. But, yeah, I expect us to roll, and I expect us to roll big, not being a homer.
Roll and roll big. It's going to be a good game. Listen, I think, to your point, USC, as you mentioned, Golesh, he's coming with a chip on his shoulder. He's confident. He's going to have a confident squad. Unlike the team down the road, Chris Williams, we actually play real FBS schools, unfortunately. But yeah, USF is going to come in. They're going to be coming in with a chip on their shoulder, confident. Their fans are going to be confident. Usually USF plays us pretty tough for a half or so. So it's going to be, but I think Alabama has a chip on their shoulder. Just the mentality that they want to go out there and dominate. So just like I said, Jihad Campbell set the tone already for the players. They're already locked and loaded just from his pressure. Now, guys, let's roll on to the danger zone with my good friend, Lushan. So, Lushan, what are you going to be talking about in the danger zone?
And for those, we got a very dramatic video coming up, but we got to get some license right with the Top Gun crew and Maverick. And once we get that ironed out, Lou's going to have his
spoil it. We got Lushan riding on his motorcycle with the jacket and playing the music, Highway to the Danger Zone. And then that's what he's going to do. He's our Maverick. Lushan, he's our Maverick. And Petty is Ice.
Hey, but before I get started, man, we got to give another shout out to Jimmy the Bags man Clay, because he hit us again with another huge super chat. Jimmy, man, thank you very much, man. We appreciate it greatly. Jimmy again. All right. So this week in the Danger Zone, we're going to be focusing offensively on cleaning up the discipline and penalties, which I saw. I know it was the first game. Everybody said it was jitters, but still it's got to get ironed out no matter what we got going forward, because some of those plays could have been big. I know everyone's like, well, we scored a lot of points. We could have scored more. And I think Kalen DeBoer is that type of coach that likes perfection, likes the rest of us in Alabama Nation do. And I think specifically I'm going to hit our left tackle position, because it wasn't a constant type of pressure, but he did get beat on a couple plays. So I'm going to put him in the danger zone as far as offensively. Now, defensively, it's going to be a little bit different, because this quarterback and these running backs present an interesting kind of task for them. You got to stay in phase, and you got to have eye discipline to not take the movement or go for the ball fake that they're going to be given, because these guys are quick and they're fast switchy. So our linebackers got to be disciplined. And we ain't talking about Campbell, because we already know he's him. It's some of our other guys that kind of got lost in space. The running backs kind of danced on them last week. I want to see our inside linebackers stay disciplined. And as far as the Wolf position, we're just going to give shout outs, because I think that Wolf position might hurt these Bulls a little too much. Actually, I think the Wolf position is probably going to hurt them a lot, if I'm being honest. Being honest. And I think defensively, I think the player I'm going to highlight is going to be Justin Jefferson. You know, he's an elite athlete. I want to see him complete the phase. I want to see him actually lay some hits to people and actually finish up the plays. Because, I mean, let's face it, man, the kid's an athlete. We saw what he can do. He can get there. I just need to see him wrap up and make the plays, because if we throw him in the rotation with Campbell and Lawson, it's going to be deadly. But on the other hand, he better be on his P's and Q's, because there's some young guys. There's a young guy chomping at the bit to want to get some action in. That 41 in that linebacker room is an animal as a true freshman. So, what are y'all thoughts on this, on my danger zone this week? What y'all got?
You know, just to piggyback, you mentioned discipline, penalties. You know, I just want to see these guys just take it. I want to see the mindset. You know, I want to see them take it to South Florida. Like I said, I think, was it Petty, you last week, you mentioned how Western Kentucky is kind of going to set up how Wisconsin like to run their offense. Mm-hmm. Now we kind of got like a pretest for all y'all who were in elementary school back in the 90s. I think this is going to be a pretest for Tennessee, you know, kind of some of the concepts, what they're going to use. I think Heupel's going to look at this film and get with Golesh and see how do they do, how do we handle these type of personnel settings, motions, whatever. So I think this is a good challenge for us, a good week 2 challenge. I know right now we're focused on them. So I just want to see the mindset, us just coming out there with that dominant mindset, really going to want to set the tone. Petty?
Man, before I throw it to me, we got someone that might have got caught up in a little bit of Oklahoma traffic coming in that might have a take or two on this as well, Mr. Ty Hayes. My man, Ty.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Welcome to the show on this Tuesday evening of the USF game week. How are you doing, my man?
Can't complain, especially after last week. And I can't remember who I called to get the first touchdown, but I feel like it was Kendrick Law. And if that was the case, I called both the first interception and first touchdown passing correct for the week 1.
I would like to run the footage because I was also mad at both. I believe if we run some footage, Ty, you did call both of those, and there was some echoing going on. You did, man. You absolutely nailed them first.
Man, what a week! What a week!
Hey, Stradamus, is that your new name?
Hey, Stradamus.
I am the disappointer of Grandalf, so I have a little bit of a magical touch.
And you are a wizard, so
Miss Trendy.
There we go.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Ty, we're in the danger zone. We're talking about, you know, things we want to see from Alabama, but we're going to kind of go back, you know, a little bit. Give us your week 1 reaction on just what you saw from the Crimson Tide. And then after that, just talk about what you want to see either from the defense, offense, or just Alabama as a whole against South Florida.
Yeah, listen, I actually just got done rewatching the all 22 of the defense last night, and I was sitting there, and several times I wrote down on the paper, like, Western Kentucky, they had some really solid sets, right? Like, and I'm not saying they resulted in a bunch of success, but from a schematic standpoint, there were several times where I'd pause it, and you look at the route layering, the route combinations they were using, several mesh concepts meant to make things tricky, muddy the waters in the middle, right in front of TJ Finley's face. So no matter what, if someone picks up the guy heading from right to left, no matter what, he's got someone right in his face. I loved what I saw from the young defensive backs. There was actually a play I highlighted, and two guys, one of them brand new, the other kind of new to this new role, new to being thrown in the fire. But it was a play where Western Kentucky was stacking their wide receivers, which they did several times. And that's actually something that we could see from USF with that veer and shoot. And I'll get into the one thing I want to see done better that I do believe USF will do more than Western Kentucky. But they had a wide receiver stack. Zay Mincy was pretty much press on the first wide receiver, and Bray Hubbard was behind him. And they ran like a little screen. Well, as soon as this wide receiver went to go block Zay Mincy, it didn't take half a second. The light bulb went off in his head, and he said, okay, I got to fight through the block. He did, gave Bray Hubbard enough time to clean it up. But if you actually looked, before the ball was even out of TJ Finley's hand, Jahad Campbell had diagnosed exactly what was going to happen. Now, the one thing I would be interested to see if an offensive coordinator hits us with is that play that Sark used to do. Do y'all remember that, where he would do something very similar?
With the slant, Devontae Smith coming over.
Devontae Smith would fake the block.
Yeah.
And then go. Like, that's the one thing I'd really love to see someone test these young defensive backs with, because they picked it up so quick. I'd wonder, like, okay, now I want to see someone switch it up on them, hit them with one of those concepts, and maybe they'd find success, but it'd be great learning. But other than that, the defense did fantastic. Jahad Campbell's stock is going to go through the roof. If you haven't buy now. He, I think, will probably get a first-round grade whenever you look at the versatility they're going to have with him, especially in this defense. Because, and Lushawn, you said it very well right as I was coming in here. Justin Jefferson, Lawson make it to where you can utilize Jahad Campbell really almost as he's best. And that's scary because he's already, in my opinion, one of the best linebackers in the nation at his middle linebacker formation. But being allowed to flex out, rush the passer, and just be an athlete in space, that guy is going to get a lot of attention from NFL scouts. Now, the one thing I do want to see cleaned up a little bit heading into Western Kentucky is accounting for the quarterback run, right? Their guy is a lot more athletic than is TJ Finley, but he's not 6'7", 240 pounds. And there were several times where Finley got an extra yard, 2-3 yards because of his size. But this is a very strong running game you're going up against in Western Kentucky. I have a feeling that they're going to try and spread out this Alabama defense, get real wide sets to kind of thin up the middle, and then do some draws, some quarterback draws. This is going to be a really fun game because they run the veer and shoot. Alex Golesh going there from Tennessee. He has that Heupel system. So I love that our young guys are going to get acclimated to what Tennessee wants to do because, listen, Alabama fans, close your ears. Nico looked good. He looked real good in that Tennessee system. So it is truly a blessing you play a veer and shoot offense before you take on Tennessee. That's going to be an invaluable experience, but I was very happy. Very happy. And I'll tell you what, I want to hear from this next guy because I talked a lot about how the defensive backs really impressed me in terms of their diagnosis. Well, this next guy played defensive back. Chris, welcome to the floor whenever we get him in here. And now he's gone. He hit the transfer portal.
Hey, don't worry, I've already upset people with the Nico stuff and tried to warn them that, like, the kid can throw the ball.
Looked good.
He can throw the ball.
He's good.
Chris James.
You gotta hype him up until
let's hype him up so we can bust that bubble.
yeah, that's all I'm
saying.
saying.
Rat poison, it works in every kind of way.
It works in all facets.
Nico, allow me to introduce you to Jahad.
Chris James.
Jahad Campbell, guys, seriously, buy stock. I have about 14 or 15 times on my notepad when I was watching the All-22 highlighting 11. It was ridiculous.
Yes.
He's scary. And 4 ain't far behind for real.
Or might play himself somewhere too. So.
I believe I was calling jihad. I think there were some jihad comments. A name like that, you're gonna raise hell.
Yeah. Let me tell y'all somebody else. LT Overton brings some dog to that unit.
Oh my God! Talk about him, Chris. Go talk about LT Overton.
Man, LT Overton, man. He was like a lot of people didn't realize that he was ranked as the top overall player in the country, but he reclassified. And that's what kept him from being the number 1 ranked player in the country.
Still number 17 in the nation.
He is a dog. And did y'all see the play? Well, I think it was a play that he made, like it was some type of crazy play. I think close towards our sideline, and then he got down. He was down and got that little look on his face.
Yeah,
it was like, yeah. Well, we've been missing that from the. It
was a tackle in the backfield. Him and Bach.
Well, the one he's talking about is when the guy tried to jump Red Morgan. Red Morgan caught him, and LT came up over him and smacked him as well. But there was another one where the tight end tried to chip him. The tackle and guard tried double teaming him. He ripped over the tackle, fought through the guard, and hit the running back for a tackle for loss. Ridiculous.
Man,
if y'all don't keep giving Jihad that love, man, give it to my boy Quay too, because he was bringing.
Oh, 100%.
Quay, I told you, man. No, shoot, James Smith. Like,
them Carver boys.
We done all got excited now about that defense. That swarm D, man, it looked good.
Dude, and I love how they play with their heads to the ball, man. It's like they make so many more plays on the ball. And Red Morgan did a veteran thing. It was one play he was beat on. He was out of phase, but he never gave up. He read the receiver's hands, his eyes and hands, and went through the V of his neck. Like they always say, if you see the V of his neck, that means you go through and swipe down. And he swiped down and knocked the ball out of there. Perfect timing. And it's like those guys play like they're seasoned veterans, man.
Chris, you want to know what it's a perfect time for, gentlemen?
You said perfect timing. There's some perfect timing with Chris here. Is it time to go? Is it time to go to the island?
It's time to go to the island.
As we approach landing, we're approaching landing on James and Cadell Island.
Listen, only bikini tops, ladies. So listen, welcome
to
got a little
turbulence. Hold on, we straightening it up.
Welcome to On the Island with Chris and Matt, where we highlight a DB and receiver. And I'm gonna let Chris go first because he's the man. Chris,
you the man, Matt.
On the island, let's talk about. You're talking about guys whose stock we need to talk about. Let's talk about this one safety who is a ball freaking hawk, the number 1 ball hawk that I've seen in all of college football this year.
Keon
Chris,
Saab.
The floor is yours.
Man, Keon Saab, let me tell you, man, that guy he reminds me of Eddie Jackson.
Yes.
On the back end, with how smooth he is and how he just diagnoses the ball in the air. Like, man, he's just a natural, man. And he's fit perfect for the role that he plays in his defense. He's a perfect fit for it, man. And it's like I was telling people, man, when he transferred to Bama, I said that this guy right here, because I knew about him. I said this guy right here is gonna be big time. Like, people didn't understand at first how big of a pickup it was to get him, because losing what we lost on the back end from last season, and you had to have somebody like that to come in and just take the bull by the horns, because all the pressure was on Malachi. Everybody was expecting Malachi to have to do everything, on his own. Now to have a sidekick that you can just play, you don't have to be that guy that just redirects everybody, because you have another field general back there. That allows Malachi to play more in the box when he's at the high safety. So that guy, man, he's just in position, man. He's smart. He's a smart football player. He's big. He's fast. He's physical. He plays with swagger. He's going to be a early draft pick, early early draft pick when he comes out. I think he's only a redshirt sophomore, so he'll be eligible to come out this year. Keeps balling, he can leave this year, or we would love to have him for 2 more for this year and next year. But the guy, he just the way he's in position, man. He's always in position, and he breaks on the ball, catches with his hands, and he's just, like I said, he reminds me of Eddie Jackson, a bigger Eddie Jackson, and I think he may end up being one of those guys that would challenge for the single season interception record at Bama.
Yeah. Listen, Chris, he could have had 3 picks.
Yeah, the other one that fell right in. Yeah,
he could have had 3, but I think he's gonna bounce back. So guys, anybody else want to talk about Sab? The floor is yours. Talking about Sab before I move to my player, Petty, Lushan, Dan.
No, go ahead. Let's go ahead.
Man. Nothing to add to what Chris said. Sab that secondary was Swarm D, man. It was flying. It was exciting.
Swarming D. So guys, I'm gonna go to the other side, and I just gotta highlight this guy who is the human highlight for Alabama. He's only 17 years old, guys. Yeah. The one and only Hollywood Williams, guy. This guy just is on another level. I mean, I gotta highlight. We were hearing things about him in camp, how good he was. You heard Tyler Booker mention today. Listen, y'all hadn't even seen. He's just scratching the surface on what y'all see. So this guy Ryan Williams is a force to be reckoned with, and it started with his pregame catch. Did you see it in the end zone?
Yeah.
In the rain, I'm like, okay, this kid is different. But to play in his first game, first catch, 70-yard bomb. But the second one was really, really impressive. Going across the middle, breaking a few tackles, then get the yak yards, the maturity, the poise, the elite agileness that he plays with the game. The game is not too big for him. This kid is special. Listen, he was trending Saturday. He was the #1 trending topic during the game Saturday. It was Hollywood Williams. Listen, Ryan Williams was #1 trend. You had NFL scouts tweeting about Ryan Williams. It just shows you how impressive he is. Listen, I just can't wait to see, what he's going to do in this offense under the leadership of Shepard, DeBoer, Sheridan, Brian Ellis. It's going to be good to see. So I'm going to leave it to you guys. Chris, your hand is up.
Hold on. Fans, we're going to get to your questions at the end. So just want to let you know, hang in there. We will get to you.
Ask your questions away. What we'll do is we will star them. That way, at the end of this show, we can go back, have all of them right there for all of you. So do not hold back on your questions. Hop in the chat, get those in, and we will break them down at the end.
That was a professional way to say that, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Williams is like, he's a stud. We knew that. Everybody knew that, man. That wasn't a secret. But what I like when Milroe felt the pressure, stepped up in the pocket, started to scramble. Then he saw Law, who ran a drag route across the field, and he stood there, gave it to him, and Law put that foot in the ground, and man, to have that type of, it was like a flag football type. Some of you seeing flag football, man, ultimate frisbee. But to see him catch that ball and stick that foot in the ground, just how explosive he is, man. People, I know we're at Bama, but I think we have the most underrated receiver room in the SEC, possibly country, because everybody thinks that the cover is barren when it's really not, because you got guys like Kobe Prentice, you got Jerry Bernard, and you have
Law.
I'm talking about outside of him and Ryan Williams. You have Henderson,
Rico Scott, Caleb Odom, Anderson, Jalen Hale when he gets back.
Cole Adams.
Cole Adams. Slotty Pippen. Let's call him by his real name.
And it's going to be crazy, man. As the season progresses, it's going to be impossible to game plan for Bama, because then you have to take into account you got Justice Haynes and Jam Miller. Like, that's crazy. Like, people don't understand, man. Like, it's like a pick your poison. You're going to take away the run, or you're going to load up against the run, or you're going to drop back and try to add an extra man in coverage against the pass, and now you get gashed on the ground. So it's like with Bama, teams are going to say, okay, we're going to take this away, blah, 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 and hope that we keep them under 40.
Well,
We're going to have to score 40.
Chris, you made a prediction that Keon Sabb would break the Alabama interception record.
No, that wasn't me. That was
Was that
Justin.
Matt?
That was Justin.
Oh, okay. I thought that was one of you guys. Was that Dan?
No. I just had one thing I want to point out to you guys. When was the last time we had a freshman make this kind of impact?
Well, that's
week one.
Well, that
I can think of a name.
Well, and what do you expect from him going forward? Like, do you expect him to keep? I mean, what are y'all expecting realistically out of him the rest of the year? To keep
Ryan Williams.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
I told you he'll be a 1,000-yard receiver. I said that like 4 or 5 months ago. He'll be a 1,000-yard receiver.
Was that
9, Dan?
He's 800. He's 800 yards away now. 860 yards away from being a 1,000-yard receiver. And you got like 13, 14 possible more games. He'll break that easily.
All right. Well, we know our studs. Is there a DB or a wide receiver? We talked about the running backs a lot earlier in the quarterback. Do they got a wide receiver or a defensive back that can cause any problems for the Tide?
I mean, they have guys that are good, man. But you gotta understand. Go ahead, Ty.
Abdur Raham Rahman Yassim. I am so sorry. You did not deserve for me to butcher your name like that. That is not on you. My mother raised an idiot, and here I am. That's 100% my fault. But this is a good USF squad, right? Like, listen, they finished up last year really well, and it's not only the fact that, like, they do have some talented guys. By the way, I know that the guy didn't finish with a bunch of yards, but I told y'all, and I mean, everybody here knew, that Keyshawn Johnson for Western Kentucky, he's a darn good player now, right? Like, that's why I was so impressed with our DBs, because if you go back and watch his releases, he's a polished wide receiver. Like, he is a good player. He's going to have a nice year for them, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he ends up transferring again to a bigger school if he has some eligibility left. But when we talk about USF, I'm really looking at Abdur Yassin. This past game, he had 73 yards, but a long of 44. And when you look at this offense, especially with the quarterback they have being able to throw the ball, being able to run the ball, it's going to be really important to stay disciplined, right? And I know earlier I was saying, hey, I want to see them sure up getting on the quarterback, because sometimes the linebackers would drop pretty deep into their zones and the quarterback had an open lane. But this is one of those games where the last thing you want to do is, Matt, you were talking about the Kendrick Law touchdown that you liked so much, right? Where Milrose stepped up in the pocket and then hit Law. That's what this team we're about to play can do, right? Because this quarterback has some mobility. He uses his legs as an extension of the passing game. Yassim, he's got the ability to hit it deep, but our guys need to play fast, play disciplined, keep everything in front, and they'll be fine. Plus, I don't know if y'all saw it. There were 3 or 4 times I was on my couch giggling, and my wife was like, what's so funny? Damani Jackson was throwing dudes out the club at the line of scrimmage. He was jamming kids into another dimension, and then he runs a 10-2-5. So he'd jam, and then they'd get off of it, and then he'd just be jogging next to them because you're not going to outrun him. I'm very interested in seeing how the young DBs go against this veer and shoot, but last week gave me a lot of confidence.
The next Will Johnson. That's the money.
He is, bro. And I told y'all all offseason, I really do feel like he has All-American potential, whether that's this year or next year. The talent is there. And I can't say how impressed I am with Mo Linguist getting those young guys that ready and identifying what they were, because Western Kentucky threw some trickery at them.
Dude,
Go back, watch that all 22. They did their thing.
The most impressive player like that you have to be impressed with on the entire team has to be Mbakwe.
Oh my gosh, he had a great game.
Simply being the kid was playing high school quarterback last year, and he didn't enroll until the summer. And for him to be ready, like that's the same exact thing I did. I played high school quarterback my senior year, got to Bama, and played corner. Dude, first, like, I was nowhere in crap in Hades ready, close to being ready. Game one, let alone my freshman year. And this guy came in game one, breaking up slant routes and everything, man. Like, that dude is a freaking stud, man. He didn't play that much defense in high school. Like, from what I saw in the state, I think he played a little bit. I don't think he played much. He wasn't an every down guy, was he, Dan?
He played safety.
Pretty much he was.
I mean, at corner.
Later on in the season, yeah. But he played a little bit. He played a little bit more toward the end of the year, if I can remember.
But at corner though, I mean, like he played like he's been playing corner last 3-4 years. Like he was a 3-year starter in high school.
I want to ask you this, Chris, before we transition on that slant you're talking about. Had he not been in phase, that could have been a touchdown.
Yes,
so, this is what I mean. I plead with everybody. Go watch the game again. Just watch Alabama's defense. Watch Western Kentucky's routes. The way that they were piling on the routes. They were scheming guys open, which made what our defense did so impressive. I know it's Western Kentucky. Watch the scheme. If he didn't be in that position, that's a touchdown because they had cleared up the backside safety.
It'll hit the seam.
They had gotten the other safety, right? The middle field safety. They had cleared him out. The other safety had to come up to account for a lower. How nerve-rattling is that for a young corner to know? Because he knows, he has eyes. He knows if I don't make this, this is 6. What's that like for a young cornerback, especially someone like him that didn't play corner full time?
With the young corner, man, you have to rely on your technique. You see what I'm saying? Trust your coaching. It just goes back to the fundamentals. Like, trust what you're taught to do, and lean upon that until you can do it with your eyes closed. And that's pretty much what he did. He stayed square, and he broke well on a route. He didn't get turned. He didn't open up, because if he'd have opened up, it'd have been a route. If he'd opened those hips prematurely and let that guy release, beat him inside with him turned, that'd have been 6, like you said. So, but for him to stay square, and he played that like a veteran, man, like Kool-Aid. But for him to be so ready so early, dude, like, I don't think people understand the magnitude of that, man. Like Xavier Brown, Xavier Brown came from Mater Dei. Yeah, he been starting at Mater Dei. We expect that from him. He's a dog. But Mbakwe didn't look like a freshman.
Nope.
Zay Mincy didn't look like a freshman.
Nope.
Didn't look like a freshman. It's crazy, man. Like,
we played freshmen on Saturday.
You wouldn't know it, would you?
You wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't know
Like,
it.
realistically, I had people ask
19.
me, like, I thought you guys had freshmen playing. I'm like,
19.
17.
19.
No, I think it was 17. Was it 17 true freshmen played?
I have
I
no
thought
idea.
17 true freshmen
Remember
played.
17-2 and 2 red shirt or something, but it was 19 freshmen total that played.
Yeah. I think it was 17 true.
That's ridiculous, man. That's over half the class.
And made an impact.
Yeah. Question for the panel. Do y'all think we'll see similar thing? See as many freshmen play as early this week as we did last? I think so.
They don't
I think
keep going
I think it's going to be a constant theme because we're trying to
develop depth.
Develop guys. We need experience.
Especially in this game.
Yes, this is going to be a good challenge. We're going to need that experience going into Wisconsin, then going into SEC play. So I think we're going to see a lot of guys rotate. And I think it's going to continue throughout the SEC because it's a long season.
That's what I was just about to say.
You need
with the playoffs being added, there's going to be more games. So you got to have guys ready, man. So depth is going to be – and that's one thing. And another thing, Matt, it's the fact that Coach Saban didn't really play a lot of freshmen early like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like more guys played probably more than we've seen in like as far as just like early. Like most of the think about it, man. Coach Saban, those guys getting in fourth quarter, just late third, fourth quarter. These guys were playing in the first half, dude.
Second series, I think some of them.
Yeah, second series rotated. Well, speaking of rotate, you need to rotate a title towel in Tuscaloosa versus those South Florida Bulls. Get you a title towel from wetwillsports.com. That is wetwillsports.com. And you can roll with your official game day towel at Title Towel. Get it at wetwillsports.com and use the promo code STANDARD. So, guys, let's go to the guy who's so petty. His last name's Petty. He's got Mailbag. I guess you got some new mail coming in the mail this week.
Man, I guess the fans thought enough of my answers and this mailbag segment that they just keep sending fabulous questions, and I'm just going to keep answering away. So you keep them coming, and I'm gonna keep on giving you my wisdom. So we'll start out. A lot of I pulled out. There was a theme, so there's a lot of forks in cities across the South. So it's just ironic. Phil from Leapers Fork, Tennessee, said, Coach Napier at Florida is sure taking it to blaming fans now that his team sucks so bad, specifically those in Central Florida basements. I've never left Tennessee or the hills. Do homes in Central Florida have basements? Phil, no, they do not. You would think a coach that's recruiting kids in Florida would know if they have basements in Florida. But he also lost to Mario Cristobal this weekend. So not looking good for Billy Napier down there. And no, that's a no basements. Jimmy from Locust Fork, Alabama. Are you that idiot that predicted Virginia Tech as a sleeper for the ACC? Yes, I am, Jimmy.
Me too, Jimmy.
Thanks for pointing it out.
Van is going to be a tough out. I want to say that quarterback, he's like Menzel in that offense. Being honest. I'm telling you, they're gonna be tough.
Hey,
I'm telling you.
Why I got you guys online? Petty, why have you guys online? Why I have you guys online right here? Let me. Those Miami Hurricanes.
You called it.
I'll give you that one. No, Vanderbilt is still Vanderbilt. They beat a team that ran 2 plays for a quarter and a half.
Good job, Chris. I'll give you your props.
Yeah,
good job.
Congrats on.
Yeah.
Oh, you did get Notre Dame. Okay, congrats on Notre Dame beating
Notre Dame.
Look at here.
Yeah, but
look, if y'all want
Sorry,
to answered about my shitty picks, y'all email them to the mailbag. This isn't time for y'all to bag on me. Y'all can email just like everybody else.
Drop that email.
From Rolling
Yeah,
Fork,
what's the email?
Mississippi. Huh?
What's the email?
Petty sack.
I am petty.
Pamela from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. When was the SEC this deep at quarterback? That's actually a good question, Pamela, and I had to do a little research on it. I mean, you're looking at Quinn Ewers, Milroe, Jackson Dart, Beck, Nico, and guys that had a good game, Vandergriff, Nussmeier, Tylen Green at Arkansas. There's a lot of dudes that are playing solid football in the SEC. Brett Chapin at Mississippi State didn't have a bad game. Of course, Cook at Missouri, Jackson Arnold, and of course, y'all apparently love this Vanderbilt quarterback, but okay.
He's gonna be tough. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Been tough. We've had years where we had really good SEC quarterback play.
Oh yeah, and I went back, man. I think 2002 was the last time we had this type of depth. And at 2002, we had Eli, David Green, Jared Lorenzen, Casey Clausen, Jay Cutler, Sexy Rex Grossman, Jason Campbell, Matt Jones at Arkansas with all that weird speed. And a man named Brody Kroll swinging it around.
Actually, is Tyler Watt, sir. Don't forget Tyler Watt.
Oh, Lord. It was Brody. We're going with Brody in 02, Eric.
2002.
No, I'm going so Pamela, I think 02 was the last time the SEC was this deep at quarterback. If you think it was some other year or anybody else has a better one, y'all let me know.
That's a good one, Petty.
Good one.
All right. Final question, Perry from Fort Island, Louisiana. Is Brian Kelley on the hot seat? Ooh, it gets a little hot down at Baton Rouge. We are banging drinks.
Bringing thrills.
We've danced weirdly with recruits and circular things, and now we're banging things, and we're trying to. Yeah, I tell you what, we've lost what, 3 straight against big names on opening day, 5 straight. LSU fans don't have a very long fuse, and I tell you this. But I'm not ready to sell LSU. I don't think they played as bad as everybody else did. Nussmeier didn't play a bad game. He found his receiver in Keon Lacey late in the game. Emory was getting going. Look, I don't know why they went away from the run when Emory started going. They were 1 drive away from winning that ball game. So it's not like LSU just went and laid an egg or got the hell beat out of them. I thought their defense, and I know this sounds crazy, looked a little better and more competent than it did last year. So yes, if more losses tally up in Death Valley, he definitely will be on the hot seat, but I'm not ready to sell LSU quite yet. I thought they actually played better than people are giving them credit for due to the loss. And look, I want to give some credit to USC. Miller Moss had a hell of a game. The wide receiver number 10, Keon, I'm going to get his name wrong real quick. I can help me out. Good Lord, that kid's got some hands. And the running back transfer from Mississippi State just made some great runs at the end. So, yes, he is probably going to be on the hot seat because the Cajuns down there in Red Stick are crazy, but I'm not selling LSU quite yet. But I'm also the dumbass that predicted Virginia Tech to be an ACC sleeper. So what do I know? And that's your mailbag.
But you know what, though, Petty?
What's that?
Virginia Tech might actually be an ACC sleeper because the ACC is horrible.
Oh, the ACC's garbage. It's Miami. Hey, your Miami Canes. They may not. I don't think they'll lose. I think Miami might run the field.
Dude, guys, I picked Florida State. If y'all remember.
Dan, don't tell anybody. I'm catching the bullets. I got it. I got you, buddy.
Yeah, we have someone being a martyr right now. Let him take it.
Yeah, Dan, don't tell people that one.
Florida State.
I got a question. Speaking of Florida State, 321 Nose wants to know: does he have to eat the dog crap?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the heck? What do you mean? Yes. You, DJ. I got 27 letters in my last name. Just lost in his 6th year of being a starting quarterback. So yeah, you gotta eat. You gotta eat all that.
You want the hot take? You want the hot take?
Yes.
This isn't a quarterback that has 1 year of film on him. Right? This is on Mike Norvell.
Yep.
This isn't a situation where DJU only had 1 year of film and Mike Norvell is like, you know what? I believe in my ability as a quarterback developer. I can fix it. You've got multiple years of film on what he does well and where his weaknesses lie. And still, Mike Norvell is trying to make him into a quarterback that he is absolutely not. They ran for 21 yards on Boston College. That's pathetic. Like, that's one of the most pathetic things I have seen. Meanwhile, Boston College ran for 267 yards. So, Lucian, you're not wrong. DJU missed several throws that there's no excuse. You have to have that throw. No excuse, and I'm not taking up for that. But I put more blame on Mike Norvell because you're the quarterback guy. You had all this film out there, and that was who you chose. After you paraded around those other quarterbacks and told everybody in the nation these guys could win a national championship, as soon as the year's over, you send one to the transfer portal, and then you go get DJU.
Ty, I'm not sure that's who he chose. I think that may be who he settled on because it was strong rumors out of Oxford, Mississippi. They were tampering. He was trying to get Jackson Dart to transfer out of Ole Miss. I think he may have settled on Ukulele instead of picking him.
Well, he should have developed the younger guy.
Hey, the fortunes of the bowl program changed when Karen Ward landed at Miami and Ugalele who landed at Florida State. And right then, that's what I said. Miami's gonna win the ACC. And then they went and got the running back from Oregon State, who's a stud, absolute stud.
Damian Martinez, but I'll tell you who's some studs, and that's everybody in the comments section who submitted some questions. Let's get to these right here. Keenafy says, sure, most of us would take Downs back in a second like we did Proctor. Maybe we should reserve ourselves a little more when it comes to transfer portal frustration thoughts. My thing is this. I've seen, because I saw Kenafi's original question, guys. He's talking about Alabama fans piling on the kids that left. I halfway agree as my camera disagrees and has absolutely stopped working. And then luckily you get a good frame of me right there. But they're feeling bad enough as it is. We don't need to say anything. They're on Florida State right now, and they're going to have a rough year. Listen, you'd be surprised how many of these recruits and recruits' parents are interacting on Twitter. So it's one of those things where just if someone leaves, wish them well and move on. That's it. That's my take on it.
My take is I think you're seeing two different dynamics of the portal. I mean, you got teams like Dabo who doesn't believe in the portal, and you got teams like Florida State who went all in the portal. But like Ty said, you got to be able to evaluate, and you have to be able to develop for your program. So you got to know how to do those things from your head, man. Chris?
And one thing what people fail to realize, man, you can't just bring a kid in because he's good. They have to fit into your locker room, man. They have to be a cultural fit. And it seems like both at Colorado and at Florida State, they're just bringing guys in just to fill vacant spots. If the guy's a selfish like a me player, like doesn't care about his teammates, you're never going to buy in. You're never going to have that team feel, and they're not going to play for each other. When you're not playing for each other, that's how you lose to Boston College. You got a bunch of guys just trying to get their shine on, get their,
it's all about them.
And like, if you're not like what Saban was doing, he was strategically bringing guys in to fill voids. Like the transfer portal is to fill holes, not to build rosters. You get what I'm saying? You build rosters through recruiting high school, building a relationship with those high schools.
Great point, Chris.
But to what I think Kanafi said, or however you say Kanafi, I'm sorry if I butchered the hell out of that. I think as fans, you do have to have thick skin because the era has changed. Like if you've got a kid that can play and he's coming in with someone at the same position that beats him out, odds are he's not going to be, they're not going to sit around and wait. So don't get mad because they do come back. Yeah, there's been a couple instances already of kids coming back to their original schools. So you never know, man.
Yeah. But you gotta build when you're recruiting, man. You gotta build your roster because that's how you set the culture through guys that come in as freshmen and learn the ropes. They're 3, 4, 5. You know what I'm saying? Those are your foundation guys. You can't have foundation on a guy that's been 3, 4 different other schools. He's a transfer portal guy. You can't build like that because then you'll have a roster overturn every year, and you'll never have no identity. Your identity will be different every single year. You see what I'm saying? And for Florida State, they're trying to find their identity because they have none.
They do. Yeah, right. Their identity is losing. Lushawn?
I would like to stand firmly in the corner to say I would not take Caleb Downs back. No, that's where I stand for it.
Not the way he left. You made your bed.
Nah.
Oh, I agree with that part.
There's certain ways. There's certain players that do it a certain way, and there's other players that do it another way. And if you lose the respect of the locker room, what's the point in coming back? So a lot of these players that leave and the way they leave, take your ass on somewhere. Like, I wish you the best of luck, but Bama going to roll regardless. Iron's going to sharpen iron for the day to the day football ends. So we don't need you. Congratulations on coming, but go about your business and peace be with you. But as far as the transfer portal goes,
all right,
give it and take it.
All right, we got a bunch of them, guys. We got several to pop through. Ben Edwards, USF has a good team with several players on watch lists for individual awards. They have a great coach and staff, and they are motivated to improve. That being said, Bama by a lot.
A whole lot.
Yep.
Ben Edwards just rolling. Chris James, you got this one, Matt. I'll let you roll. This is your
Chris James been lost and rolled.
That was my neighbor.
Since Saturday night. While Chris was out partying, I was Bible study, guys.
Come on, dude. Bible study policy.
Ministry.
You came in, we prayed for you at the door.
Matt's got one of those Bibles that's got a hole in it for a bottle.
I said, Matt, come over, brother. Let's have a word.
Yeah, I thought that was going in a different direction.
I thought it was going. My mind.
And praise be, it didn't go there.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right.
Let's go.
Tim Grant with a great question. What defense does this remind y'all of?
What defense was that? We got all those turnovers.
Was that
Tim Williams?
17?
25th. It was
15.
2016, right? 2016.
Was it 16?
What
16
made
or
them-
17?
It was
Really,
2016.
really good defensive line and an opportunistic secondary. That's what this team reminds me of. Because you think about it, we created a lot of turnovers that year.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna hold out on that one.
I'm not saying that they're as good, but I'm saying that's who they remind me of.
But from
Like,
a schematic standpoint, it's not close to the same. You get what I mean? Like in terms of getting turnovers, so that's where this is interesting. Because Tim, come back on next Tuesday because I have a little bit of a theory that I want to see if it plays out on Saturday, and especially after Wisconsin. I think we only worked out of one package in this defense, and that you're going to see something more. So a little too early for me to tell.
Game one, we weren't really tested. I'm gonna reserve my ruling till about week 5.
I like what I saw. This is the most aggressive we've seen a defense in the opening game in a while.
Honey Pack.
True.
This is true.
Absolute fact, Van Edwards.
It's true.
Is it true Chris James got lost in Rose Tower Saturday night? The only way they found him was the Honey Pack wrappers.
Yeah.
And the crock pot was left on, so their smoke alarm went off.
He need to refuel himself with lots of food.
Yeah, it was well, no, Dan, what it was is the extension cord for the crock pot. That's
running
it was
through
like,
Hey,
that's how they
power
found
off
him.
other people.
hey.
It was like
my
Hansel and
5-year-old
Gretel.
burnt it up. So the crock pot is down.
It was one of those Dollar General extension cords.
Yeah, it was like a Hansel and Gretel
Hey,
situation
Hey,
with an
what you did
extension
there,
cord.
it was a General Dollar.
Come rolling in with a Bible with a whiskey bottle in it, and Chris back there eating wings out of the damn crock pot.
Speaking of Bible,
you got about the gizzards.
There's gizzards in the crock.
Speaking of Bible, Dabo Swinney is down bad. Ben Edwards says, I got a scholarship offer from Clemson this morning.
ACC struggling. They hitting up Van in Middle Alabama.
This is a question.
This is actually a great question because I've heard
313. Are we going to see more Keon Kelley?
Not with the way your boy playing right now.
Overton.
Yes.
I think that's
plus Jordan Renaud flash too.
I think that's the question for Keon Kelley to ask himself in the mirror. Like,
that and we have to remember he switched positions, had to change his body in doing so, add on a little bit more weight, take on new responsibilities. So as everybody's learning a new defense, he's having to redo his body, learn a new defense, and learn a new position. So he'll get his reps. He's a very talented player, but there's a lot of learning going on for him in particular.
And I think they got a package for him to use against a certain team coming out of Athens in Tuscaloosa on the 20th.
All right, last hammer before we go to a rapid fire prediction.
Boy, howdy.
Segment. Van Edwards, Brian Kelley hasn't pounded anything that hard since his assistance at Cincinnati.
Listen, I got a Brian Kelley joke. How do you go to be the coach in Baton Rouge and you lose weight? Ozempic? Is that what it is?
Man.
That Ozempic's got a hold of everybody.
It does. I see.
What happened to that accent that he had when he first came?
Ozempic.
That diet.
You lose everything.
I'm just glad he's not putting anybody up on.
football,
I'm just glad LSU has more secure camera stuff for their students than they did at Notre Dame. That Brian puts them up on in the middle of windstorms. All right,
Boy.
Shuggy, man. Sorry, got to look out for those camera people unless you're Brian Kelley. Why isn't Alabama going harder after Naeem offered?
Dan,
you ever heard those comments?
Who says we're not? Who says we're not?
These are recruiting guys.
Yeah, it's right. It's just not much interest, So, Bama is very happy with who they have in the class right now. You know, they feel they got who they want at corner. You know, you got Dejon Lee, 5-star corner.
Chuck
You got
McDonald.
Chuck McDonald, 4-star corner. So Bama is very happy with the corner that they have committed in this class.
Go ahead.
And
Doc.
if I may add one more thing, his dad was on Twitter. And listen, if he wasn't very high on Bama. He was saying how, Mo Linguist ain't that. It's the guy who's really that is up there at Ohio State. Hey, if that's how you feel, man, more power to you. Like I said earlier to Keenafee, good luck. How you doing? Keep it moving, right? All the best to you. Wish you the best in your future. I hope everything works out, and I hope you find the happiness you're after. I truly do. Nothing makes me happier than seeing these young guys succeed. But I would rather a player not choose Bama and be bought in than choose Bama, not be bought in, and now you can have an issue in the locker room. But the last thing I'll say, Mo Linguist coached his cousin at Buffalo, and I don't think that the family likes the fact that Mo Linguist left Buffalo to come to Bama. The cousin hit the transfer portal, and mum was the word. He didn't get that Bama offered. My little conspiracy theory.
I think that's a good one. I think
There you
that's
have it.
You know, but in the back of his mind, he wouldn't be thinking about Bama and saying interviews and saying Bama's still Bama. So it's a long
I haven't heard him say
time
anything.
till signing day.
Long time till signing
Long
day.
time
But you
till
know
signing day.
what it's not a long time to? Saturday. And that's when the Tide takes the field for the next time. What do you say? Hold on, real quick, though. What you saying, Lou? They going to snag this kid late? I'm going to give you one.
No, but you can't rule Bama out.
All right.
Courtney Morgan.
I never rule out Courtney Morgan. But with that said, we do have the USF Bulls coming. We got a little revenge to lay it on the Bulls, guys. What do you? I mean, do y'all think the revenge factor is coming? Let's do it. Let's do a speed round since we like to talk here on the final whistle. Matt.
Okay, my prediction: Bama 41. I give USF 10.
Ooh,
I
okay.
give 10. Players of the game. I'm gonna go Jahai Campbell on defense. Offense, I'm gonna go. Give me Jam Miller.
Ooh, like it.
Chris.
Chris.
2 players.
48.
Yeah.
Bama might even hang another 50 piece. But 48 definitely. 48 to, I think they scored 1 touchdown. Little mop up trash touchdown. Probably 48-10. Bama, Milroe and Campbell.
I like it.
Ty.
I'm going to go 56-7 because I think that whenever they get into the 2s and the 3s, the veer and shoot, right? I think they get something. But I also think this team is hard to disrespect. They're going to be ready to go. My players of the game, I'm going to go Sab, Ryan Williams. I think Sab gets another interception in this game.
Nice.
I'm gonna say 52-7 Bama. I expect South Florida will get in the red zone a couple of times, but they'll bog down. Players of the game: Jalen Milroe and yes, Lucian, your boy. You convinced me, Quay Russo.
Oh, I love it. Love it, Dan. That's where I was
Lucian
right.
did it. He beat that drum in my head.
I love that pick.
How about the Carver boys, man? They finally got on the field.
Them Carver boys, man. Shoot. Okay, I'm going to go. Give me 55-6. Disrespectfully. I'm going to tell you why. Because these 2 players are about to erase everything we just said. Player of the game defensively, give me the Mac Chuck Devontae Smith. Offensively, give me Kendrick Law.
Ooh, I like
He
it.
about to have a hand with this secondary because they ain't physical like he physical. They ain't running like he running. That dude about to have a breakout game, even though he had a breakout game his first one. Kendrick Law is about to do his thing.
I love
Petty.
it. I love that pick. I do think Law is going to have a game at some point where we all just go, damn. But not that I'm going with Justice Haynes in this one. And I think on defense, I'm with my boy Dan. I'm going with Quay Russaw. And 49-7, Alabama, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Well, listen, speaking of rolling Tide and the cast, how can they find you all on social media, Mr. Daniel Petty?
Man, you can find me on X at Petty_Daniel. I'm on Facebook at Daniel Petty, Pettey. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. Just look for my name. It's the same as all the others. And you can find me on Monday nights with the opening kick, on Friday nights with the Red Zone at 7 with Gerald Dixon and Hannah Stevens. And then, man, more importantly, you can find me on Tuesday nights with the Avengers here at the Final Whistle. But also this Friday night, very special event. The Bama Standard is being hosted at the Bryant Museum by Miss Olivia Arnold. It's our 4th trip there. It's going to be a banger. We got tons of guests lined up. We've got former players. We've even got an actor coming into the building. Man, it's going to be big time. And I'll be there. Like I said, signing the wives, kissing the babies, whatever you need me to do. But check us out. It's going to be a hell of a time Friday night at the Bryant Museum, 6 p.m. Central. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Lucian.
You know, as always, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves. You can find me on X, Roluce421. And as always, I'm here on Tuesday nights, wrapping it up with the greatest cast of Avengers, talking about this new age of Alabama football that the country can't help but deny. We are here, and we're going to keep proving them wrong by going 1-0. It's DeBoer season. Swarm D. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Roll Daggum Tide.
Roll Daggum Tide.
Roll Tide.
Dan.
Y'all know the routine. You know, every Tuesday night right here with the Crimson Avengers, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Wednesdays, the Crimson Dynasty, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central. Catch me on X at the Final Whistle Dan. Instagram Dan James IV. Y'all hit that like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all tomorrow.
Ty Hayes.
Yeah, you can find me right here every Tuesday night. You can find me at Around the Table Sports. You can find me on Bleacher Report. You can find me on the SEC Connect. Yeah, you can find me just about anywhere.
Chris.
You can find me eating up all the hog maws, all 2 feet. I'm just joking. But you can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on Instagram at _final_whistle Chris. You can find me on X at Coach Chris James. You can find me here every Tuesday night with the team, the best in America, baby.
And you can find me doing quarterback throwing classes with DJU down there in Tallahassee, where I'll be charging $20 a session. So
that's why. That explains.
No, but serious, it's all about Alabama. We don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, and we like to end on those 2 words.
Roll
Tide.
Roll Tide.
We're still on.
Roll.
Yeah,
so
don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
They said the Florida and Florida State game.
That's the bottom line. Why? Because Stone Cold said so.